Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Ashley Freeborn. She is the CEO and founder of Smash and Test, and she's just such an inspiring person. And today, you're going to hear a bit about her story, some marketing strategies that have worked for her, and this is just going to be such an inspiring show. So, why don't you tell everyone about yourself and your background?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. I love talking business. So happy to be here. I am the co-founder CEO of Smash and Test. I founded it with my mom, who's the Tess. I am the Smash. Little known fact. That's why it's named like that. And I actually had zero background in business, no formal background in fashion, and was a teacher and got my master's degree and thought I was going to teach forever. Taught high school, loved it, did it for 10 years. But I always had this sort of nagging desire to do something in business and most importantly in fashion. And so I spent one summer at the Condé Nast College of Fashion Design in London and tried my hand at all things fashion. And it turned out I wasn't great at really many of the things, but I had a business acumen that my senior lecturers at Vogue could kind of sense. And so they helped me with my first business plan, and that was Smash and Test. So I actually
Oh,
worked for
wow.
a couple years getting the business going and had no idea how to do anything other than I had certain like style that I liked. I knew what I wanted to do, but I was totally self-taught for the most part. So um, it's kind of an odd story. And actually, after teaching, while I was still starting the brand, I got a job offer in LA. And so that's
Oh,
what
wow.
saw me then
Cool.
in totally something totally different. So that saw me actually immigrating to LA. So I've spent the last almost 8 years in California, and I just moved back here to Vancouver, where Smash and Test is
Okay.
headquartered. Yeah.
That is so cool. I love that. I love how you said you didn't have too much like business background, but you still did it anyway. I love that. That is so cool. Do you have any mentors that kind of showed you a bit of what to do?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, no, a lot of it was feeling my way through. I think when it comes
Hmm.
to establishing the business, setting up the business, trademarking the business, my mom was really, she's been a CEO of a financial institution her whole life, so she was really great to have her business savvy. And then my stepdad, who also is an entrepreneur, so having people in my court, because I didn't know, I'm like, what do you mean I have to like incorporate? What do I do with
Yeah,
like,
what is
I
that?
didn't know any of that stuff. So that was helpful on the business side. And on the fashion side, I would say I just literally leaned into our local community. So there have been women in PR and fashion and marketing who have been really important mentors to me, people that are just friends that you like, you've really got to surround yourself with people who
Hmm.
are inspiring to you in some way. And so I've had lifelines of like, hey, I don't know, like how do I print on a thing? Or like, does anyone know, where I could get this fabric? Or
Hmm.
is it normal for you to like for it to cost this much? Or, like
Hmm.
just having a circle of people around me that have been really helpful. And fashion, and I will say Vancouver's this weird little microcosm of some really cool fashion brands. As we know,
Hmm.
big brands started here, Aritzia and Lulu and
Hmm.
Arc'teryx, and I mean, the list goes on. So there is a cool community of entrepreneurs in the fashion space that are around. If you just kind of don't be afraid to ask questions. I think I still do ask a million questions. That's kind of how I go through life and learn everything that I need to learn. So you got to humble yourself and don't be afraid to look silly, because
Oh
that's
my
really
goodness.
where
That's like a mic drop right there. That is so good. Yeah, I think being humble and asking for help is huge because I think as entrepreneurs we want to figure our way through it and
yeah.
act like we know everything when in reality sometimes we don't. So most of the
Oh,
time we don't.
no, so true.
That is awesome. Were there any huge, like obviously starting a business, like it's not for the faint of heart, right? So were there any major challenges at the beginning
Yeah.
that you'd like to share?
I mean, I think there's challenges at the beginning, there's challenges at the middle, and now
Yep.
there's friggin' terrible challenges now. Like I'm just challenged all the time. And so you're
Hmm.
absolutely right. I think to myself, like, gosh, like why entrepreneurship is really, really hard. And it's not for everybody. But I think I was reading this thing about entrepreneurship and I don't know the exact quote, but it was basically like the most important thing you can develop in yourself is a sense of urgency. So from
Mm.
ideation to actual production of any of your ideas. And I think I always say that I'm not particularly smarter than anyone. I'm action oriented. So like I have an idea and then I'm like just gonna do it. I'm very tenacious. And with being an entrepreneur, you're gonna hear no 50 million times. Things are gonna screw up a million
Mm-hmm.
times. And back to your question around like screw ups. I mean, in the beginning, we had a production house. It was in Canada, and our entire first collection was like half horribly sewn. Like, and
Oh,
this
wow.
this was my first foray into it. So I was just like, I got it. Stitching was not good. It was just bad. It was bad. So back and forth with hockey bags full
Mm-hmm.
of like product, getting it fixed, getting it like as much as I could fix. And it was a real eye-opening experience. And I thought, gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, what am I doing? I don't want to do that. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
hard. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Like, if you were to ask me what I spend 9 times out of 10, like, what am I doing all day? It's literally putting out fires. All I'm doing is problem solving. And so it starts at the beginning of your business, and then it grow as you're scaling. It's also really, really hard, for all
Mm-hmm.
different kinds of reasons. And then we got hit post pandemic in D2C and apparel, and all of us got hammered there. So we're all like trying to figure out how to navigate that. Lots of businesses are going under. It's
Oh,
really
wow.
challenging in apparel right now, and so every day is a every day is a new challenge. So you just got to roll with the punches, and you really show yourself what you're made of. There's lots of days where I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, can't do this anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but then I realized I just love it so freaking much, and it's the challenge that makes it so rewarding. And I always say, like, all the growth happens when you're thrown off balance. So if you're not off
Yep.
balance and you're too comfortable, that's when I'm like, ooh, time to start something else, do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Get creative. Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, by the way. Yeah, definitely COVID kind of threw a lot of businesses under surprise. So yeah, that's amazing that you were able to persevere through that. Especially since you're a retailer. So that's really difficult. Um, yeah, that's super inspiring. And what was something that like kept you going? You said that you just love what you do so much. Was there another driving force that like,
Well, one, I love the clothes, so I
yes, you do
smell
have
some of our
amazing
fall winter
clothes.
samples, but I love making people happy with clothes, and I like, honestly, the number one thing is like I have the most incredible community online of people that like we're so tight knit at Smash and Test, and like our
Mm-hmm.
community. I don't like calling them our followers because to me, I'm like they're
Mm-hmm.
our community because we get so many ideas from them, and it's this like beautiful dialogue of like, what do you guys want to see? They tell us, we create it, colors, different necklines, different fabrics, like it's such a beautiful relationship that I have with our community, and so that keeps me going because I often think to myself like, God, what do the girls want? Like I got to keep it coming. I got to keep them happy. I got to feel because so
Mm-hmm.
much of what we do and what I call it the romper revolution is because it's not about the clothes per se, right? It's about how we feel. It's about how, trying to empower. That's our mission, is empowering women to live big lives. And
Oh,
doing
I
so
love that.
comfortably, right? Like, so how can we support you in living your big life? And so I can't, like, that keeps me going because I'm like, I'm not letting down our community. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna figure this out. And bring them exciting things, comfortable things. And a big piece too is our inclusive sizing because I think like I've met so many women
Mm-hmm.
who are like, oh, I've always had a different shopping experience than my
Mm-hmm.
friends because I'm a size 16 or a 22, and so at Smash and Test, like that's part of what makes it magical. It's like, if you are a big, I don't know, Hillary Duff fan, and when we did our collab, like, sure, you can shop, if you're the same size as her, but more so, you can wear her beautiful clothes in any shape or size. And I think that's what we set out to do. And I think it's an important role we play in this industry is to keep things responsible, to keep things inclusive, but to keep things exciting and fun and also just like create a space online where like I we can just hype each other up and be each other's friends, and the internet can be
Mm-hmm.
a dark place, and I feel excited about the positivity that we kind of inhabit in our little corner of the internet. So I want to keep it going.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love how you said inclusivity. Like, I think a lot of brands are still not doing that. So that's something I really admire about your brand. When I go on your website, I can clearly see there's a lot of diversity, and that's really cool. And that's very important for business too. You don't just want to cater to one group. You want to, cater to a lot of people. And yeah, your community is amazing. And just seeing the collaborations you've had with some very influential people, like how has that been? Like that's a very unique marketing approach. I guess it's more popular now, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, what made you think of that, like to collaborate with influencers?
Well, yeah, it all started with Jillian
Hmm.
Harris, because, she really like early on supported our brand, like 6 months in, and she would wear everything. We'd send it, and it would sell like crazy. And we were like, and I remember it was honestly so organic. I remember a year later, I was like, I wonder if she would like design something for us because she's a designer, and like,
Hmm.
like how amazing and special would that be for our community? And she said yes. And I remember being like, oh my God, this is so
Wow.
cool. Like, what do we even do? And so through that, we fumbled our way through our first, collaboration. And I had never written, like, I had an agreement for that before. I didn't know what that entailed. Like, I didn't know.
Hmm.
So now we're kind of like collab pros. But
Hmm.
at the time, it was really organic. And it was like, oh, well, who else? And then, with Sarah Bird's Papaya, she was a friend of
Hmm.
mine, and we like were on the same speaking circuit. We used to laugh. We'd speak at the same things. And then she like blew up, and as
Yeah.
but I was like, oh my God, I would love, like, love, love, love to do something with you. And I think for me, it's always felt this way. And so I don't know the secret for everybody else, but I do think for me, it's always felt like a meeting of the minds. It's always felt really organic and fun, and
Hmm.
like hanging with my girls and creating something beautiful. And like, even if I don't know them super well, it's such a fun process to get creative and be like, okay, what do you want to do? Like, how do we do it? Like, what's your vision? And then launching something together, and that feeling of pride and excitement.
Hmm.
It's for me, I do it all day long. We have more collabs coming out, but I love it. It's a lot of stress because you're dealing with two different people, two different
Hmm.
teams. The design process takes longer, but I personally think it's so so worth it. So yeah, it is a big piece of what we do, and it is a big reason why we were able to grow so organically, so quickly on
Hmm.
social. Is just we, leveraging each other's communities and growing that way has been
Hmm.
really big. Now today's a bit of a different world; it's a lot harder
Yep.
to grow in that way on Instagram. So, but there's still brands doing it, and what I see in common with those brands is like really strong sense of self, really strong
Hmm.
sense of purpose, and they're really doing something different, and something that's there's a lot of uh, yeah, like it's like it's very intentional what they're doing, and there's an intentional voice, and there's an
Hmm.
intentional aesthetic, and so it's still happening. I just think it's it's challenging, it's hard. Yeah.
It is hard, yeah, and it is faster to collaborate, and that's something I don't think people do enough is like try and collaborate with other business owners in same industry or different industry. So that's so smart, and I love how you shoot for the moon like with Jillian Harris. Like that's amazing, and she said yes. Like you
I
never
do
know.
it all the time, Brooklyn. I do it all the time. You should see
That's
how
awesome.
many no's I have. I even went after Beyonce, okay? Like
Are you serious?
I'll go
That's
after
awesome.
everybody. I get lots of no's.
That
Uh,
is so inspiring though. Like
gotta
why
try
not?
You gotta try. And you know
Yeah.
what? And then once in a while it'll hit, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe with
Yep.
Hilary Duff, it was so easy. It was just so she was wearing the clothes.
Wow.
Actually, it wasn't. I got no like 15 times. But eventually I got the yes,
Wow.
and it's because she kept wearing the clothes. She loved the clothes. I was like, wait, no, you love this brand. I know you should do it. Like, and she's just a good human. And that's what I
Mhm.
find is that, for every no you get, when you get the yes, you're gonna get the yes of somebody who cares a little bit more about supporting
Mhm.
women-run, women-owned business, who isn't completely, all about the dollars, and is more
Mhm.
thinking like, whoa, I want to be creative. Who could I partner with and create this thing? So
Mhm.
you get a lot of no's, but you get a lot of you get yeses, and so it's worth it. You have to keep going, to keep trying. Even though if you feel
Mhm.
silly and you're like, who am I? Like,
Mhm.
whatever, who cares? Like, you just go for it, and don't be too afraid to put yourself out there.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I think everyone needs to like rewind that part because that is just so good. Like, and your perseverance is just unbelievable. Like, no wonder Smash and Test is successful as it is. Like, honestly, like you have to have that determination. You have to have the 1,000 no's, and that even applies to marketing and social. Like, I think sometimes people give up too quickly because they're like, I'm not seeing results and everything. But you never know. Maybe that 100th post you will pop off, right? So
So
yeah,
true.
what how important was social media and marketing for your business,
It's
especially at the beginning?
Yeah, it's everything. I think that's
Hmm.
our unique story is that I'm looking at a lot of brands and it's all a lot of brands focus is on their digital spend, right? And how they can like
Hmm.
scale and grow using money to do it. I think the problem therein lies is that when we saw the iOS 14 updates, when things started to get out of like way more expensive, if that was your only
Hmm.
bread and butter, that's how you were driving your customers, that's really problematic. So
Hmm.
us, we didn't have the budget. B, we were just really focused on like really a grassroots growth. And so it was really about word of mouth.
Mm.
That's where we were seeing the most
Interesting.
traction it was social media for sure. I mean, if you are on Instagram and you're in the area, you probably know a Smash Test because that's it. That was our number one
Hmm.
like strategy was just like Instagram. And
Hmm.
ironically, I wasn't even on Instagram before Smashing Tasks as a teacher, and I like did want to see my kids on there. I was on
Oh,
there, but
really?
like
Okay.
never posted. And
Hmm.
then I just loved it when I finally got my hands on it. I was like, this is awesome! What a great tool. So now you'll see me all over it. But I
Hmm.
wasn't one of the first people in there on the platform. Um, but it's been absolute. I would say it's our number one. It's our number one channel is our organic channels. Um,
Hmm.
and then I think the other thing, obviously, is like from there, getting into your newsletter list is so important and
Hmm.
really growing that insider list so that they, feel that they're getting all of the latest news. There's rewards, incentives for being a part of that crew. So we use I would say Instagram's our biggest, and we are trying to grow TikTok. And to your point, it's tiring, and there's many days where I'm like, I just want to stop. I'm so tired of these. I do the funniest reel or the funniest TikTok and like nothing, and then you'll do something, but then you'll do something
Hmm.
so ridiculous and it'll get
Yep.
200,000 views. And you're like, well, that was weird. I don't even know
Yeah.
why. I don't know. So you can't foresee what's going to happen. So all you got to do is just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. Even like
Yep.
you're tired, you just give it a shot.
Hmm.
And you got to be dogged about it. You can't let go. So yeah, but social, I think if you can figure out how to communicate with your peeps and then
Hmm.
really using it. I always say like I don't use it as a megaphone. I use it as like it's like for me it's a hearing device. It's like how do
Hmm.
I listen and learn as much as possible. And we'll do things like, hey, what color do you want on, so like what should we bring back? Should we launch this on pre-order or should we not? Like, what do you want to
Hmm.
see more of? Like, and get really understanding your customer, because then it's like that's organic. Like those are your people. And no amount
Hmm.
of if iOS, if there's another change and we all of a sudden get screwed again, well, good
Yeah.
news is you got your people. Your people are there. So I always say like, absolutely it's great to grow for sure if you have the money and you can grow and you know what you're doing on the digital side. But if you can just build a community, that's where it's
Hmm.
at. I mean, it's also so much more rewarding for me. Like I love it. So
Mm.
I get so much from my community. It's amazing. Like they lift me up, they keep me going, they keep me focused. Like, um, so I feel really lucky that way.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, you have an amazing community, and that's really smart, especially for marketing, like asking your audience like why not? I think people don't do that. They're so tunnel vision like hey, I have to do it this way, but it's like no, ask your audience what they want to see and they will tell you.
Yeah.
So that's a very smart thing to do. Oh my gosh, so good, so good. Um is there a piece of advice that you'd love to share with the audience now that we've come to the end?
Oh my gosh. I think the advice is like, you know, just again to what I was saying, just be tenacious, put one foot in front of the other. And I think we really overcomplicate things sometimes. We think like we're gonna have some magic, and all I can say is you just got to put one foot in front of the other, and the action is so important, and it's what sets you aside from everybody else. And it's like
Hmm.
if I'm that girl who like I'll get the trip out of the group chat, like it's like how
Hmm.
like you got to do that with your business. You got to do that with your life. Like, it's got to be like, okay, why am I holding off on this when I could do this right freaking now? And just keep at it, keep at it, and keep at it. And I think don't take yourself so seriously. I don't know. I think that if you can let go of that strong, and this is something I'm dealing with, but it's like if you can let go of that feeling of like, am I successful? Am I a failure? Am I, and instead just have some fun and do what you love. You'll let go of a lot. You'll be free from a
Mhm.
lot. And I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So I would just say
Mhm.
keep that going, just keep going and have fun along the way because um it's a journey. It's a journey.
Mhm. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's so good. You are so well spoken. You're just a pleasure to talk to. And thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. You are such an inspiration of what you've built and just who you are as well on your social. And yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Everyone, go follow Ashley Freeborn and follow Smash and Test. Go buy their clothes. They are amazing and go support them. Women led business. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
It was so nice to chat. Best way to start my Friday.
Oh, appreciate it. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for listening and make sure to share the show and make sure to share this with your friends. Thank you.